Well, it was bound to happen. With the success of movies like Sharknado, Sci-Fi had to milk that cash cow as much as they could. And honestly, it's pretty easy. Name a natural disaster and then an animal. Boom, you're done. Hurricane pigs, landslide llamas. See, it's easy. But get this, Aracnoquake came out a full year before Sharknado. Let's see if it set the stage for things to come. Okay, so obviously there's some big earthquake that everyone's talking about. It opened a bunch of holes up in the earth, and now spiders are crawling around. It doesn't really take a genius to figure this all out. Before we can get to the action, we meet Paul, played by Alfalfa, whose real name is Bug Hall, and the director said he only hired him because his name was Bug. Oh, and another fun fact, his hair naturally forms a point, just like Alfalfa's. So instead of using gel or something to keep it down, I guess they use CGI to remove it. Sounds like a lot of extra work, but also goes to show that they weren't afraid to use CGI. I'm kinda worried about what these spiders are gonna look like. Anyway, Paul's kinda screwed up, showing up to work at the family tour company 2 hours late and getting a demotion from his dad. Now, his smoking hot sister Petra's his boss.
You won't regret this, Daddy. I'm gonna restore some pride to the family name.
Elsewhere, we have a softball team, and the coach is none other than Terminator Hunter John Connor, all grown up. Here, his name's Charlie. I guess they're in New Orleans for some softball tournament. I'm not really sure, but they hit the road while Charlie's family stays behind to take in the sights. They decide to go on a tour, hiring Paul as their guide. But it doesn't take long for the tour to stop short. A giant sinkhole blocking the path, due to the earthquake. Worse yet, those little spiders are coming out. They manage to catch one and have a closer look. But then a much larger one emerges, and it's time to hit the road.
Back on the bus.
They make it to a gas station where they're able to fight them off. Paul's leadership abilities starting to shine through. For example, Caitlin, Charlie's wife, is having an asthma attack and her inhaler runs out. Paul knows that he could use some of his dad's scuba equipment to help her, so that's their next destination. Meanwhile, Charlie has his own problems. After he wrecked the bus, they're all just hanging out like sitting ducks when they're forced to put their softball skills to the test. Paul gives Caitlin the hookup and saves her life, his family starting to respect him. But then, one of the tourists freaks out and tries to take control of the boat when she sees these spiders can walk on water. What are they, divine? Yes, I know, some spiders can walk on water, but that's due to surface tension. It wouldn't work for these monsters. They wreck, she goes flying, somehow survives the crash only to be eaten up. Good, she's out of the way. Back to the team when they hear a truck pull up. It's a Humvee full of soldiers, and they open fire on the spiders trying to get into the bus. So they're all saved. But Charlie decides he wants to head into town to try to find his family. Paul's group is taken in by some locals, led by Jean Jacques. Here's where we learn that Caitlin has her master's degree in zoology, or something, and they manage to kill one of the creatures and dissect it, discovering that they can, in fact, breathe fire. So that's good to know. But they also don't have a brain. They're all controlled by one central queen. Speaking of the queen, they find her lair, and she isn't in the mood to entertain guests. She chases them on a boat. They're basically leading her right to the city, where she starts to build her new home between two skyscrapers. Paul knows that she has an exoskeleton, and her only weakness is inside. So he suits up and prepares to dive in. That's like a mile away. Did he really think that he would hit her with a shotgun? Well, Paul gets in close, and she pulls him into her web, where he actually manages to get eaten whole. Just what he wanted. He attaches some copper wire to her explosive sack, and once outside, lights her up, plummeting to his own death. But later he's found on a sky bridge, so everyone can live happily ever after. Except for, all the people that died. And that was Aracnoquake. It's pretty much exactly what you would expect. Bad. Let's start with the obvious. The CGI is awful. It just looks like a PS2 spider. However, on the other hand, the practical effects are quite good. There's exploding boils, and when they dissect the spider, it actually looked pretty gross. We want more of that. But instead of making something that moves, they left that part up to the computer, saving the practical effects only for the dead things. It's kinda lazy. The music is generic but effective. The acting from the two leads is fine, but you can tell that they weren't given much to work with. The movie was shot in 17 days. I think that says a lot. They try to get political at points, saying that oil fracking is what caused the earthquake, and thus brought the spiders to the surface. But I really don't think the writers thought too deep on the plot here. But get this, they tried to say that the spiders are a metaphor for meth users in New Orleans, and the queen was their dealers. No, that can't be true, I promise you that. What happened here was someone said make a movie about spiders and an earthquake. Make it quick and cheap. But it did set the groundwork for a litany of disaster monster movies to come. So we do owe it for that. I give Aracnoquake 2 alfalfas out of 4.
You run an iOS phone?
Yeah.